Hi, everybody. I am holding a picture of Miss Cynthia Pepper with the one and only Mr. Elvis Presley. We have Cynthia Pepper here, and we are going to be interviewing her. She is a fabulous, fabulous actress. I grew up with her. I watched all her films, everything she has done, and when I was told she was going to be here today, I was so excited. And we have her here, and I want to talk to her about her career and her meeting with Elvis Presley and how it was.
Okay,
so, Cynthia, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
You look just as beautiful today as you ever did in your whole life.
Bless your heart. Thank you so much.
Well,
That's very
it's
sweet.
absolutely true. And I didn't realize you were so petite.
Well,
are you?
I used to be 6 foot, but I've shrunk. No, as I've gotten older. No, I'm about 5'1". About
Okay.
5'1".
Isn't it? It's different on TV and film. You don't know how tall somebody is, and you can look very tall, and then you meet someone in person, you're like, oh, she's just petite.
Yes, but some big stars, Elizabeth Taylor, and even Raquel Welch. I've seen them in person, and they're tiny. They're 5'2".
Tiny, yes.
But it puts on 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And I think when on the large screen, you look larger than life. So people expect you to be really
Yeah,
tall.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm a shorty.
Yeah, well, but you're a beautiful shorty. We don't care how tall or short you are. You're gorgeous. And tell our listeners, ladies and gentlemen, what brought you here today. We are at the Elvis Presley Festival here in Las Vegas, Nevada, at Sam's Hotel. And tell us what brought you here and a little bit about your relationship with Elvis.
Well, I live in Las Vegas, and it's Images of the King, and this is my second time here. I love it. Of course, Elvis brought me here. I worked with him in 1963, and I was a big fan in the 50s. I grew up in Hollywood, and so then I got to meet him and work with him, and he was just the best. He was a real pro, and very sweet and funny.
Did he call everybody yes ma'am and no ma'am?
Yes, the southern gentleman. Yes. Oh, absolutely. And of course, he sang a love song to me, and I got to kiss him. And I tell everybody, when I kissed him, I liked it so much I just kept messing it up. What woman wouldn't, right?
12.
12, yes. And I'm a pro. Like, oh well, I didn't get fired.
Good for you. Smart girl.
Yes. No, it was a dream come true. And I had worked, so I had to be professional. And in the film, I was backing up because I thought, what a creep this guy is, in the film. And of course, it took a lot on my part to go, he's not a creep, So he was wonderful. He's the best.
And I wanted to ask you too, not because I necessarily want to know, but viewers want to know, because he did date a few of his co-stars from time to time. Did you ever go out with him or date him?
I don't talk about that.
Okay.
I don't talk about it, but I have a funny story that I can tell you real quick. I have one son, and he's a grown son. He's going to be 51 next month, yes. Okay. But he lived in L.A., and I live in Vegas, and he called me up one time. I've told this story before in front of people, and this is the power of Elvis, and you can imagine this. So he was sitting around the coffee house in the Valley in L.A., and the guys were saying, well, your mom worked with Elvis. And he says, yeah. And he said, well, what year? And he said, gave the year and his age. And he said, well, you have blue eyes and full lips. You know where I'm going? And he said, oh my gosh, maybe you're Elvis's son. So my son calls me up out of the clear. He says, Mom. I said, yes. He said, yes, Michael. And he says, I want to ask you 2 questions. And I said, oh my God, what is this?
Right.
Yeah. And he said, first question is, did you have a thing with Elvis? And secondly, am I his son? And I went, oh my God,
He was really blatantly out there.
Oh yeah.
He really was.
But I said, oh my gosh. So I had to think quick. I said, well, the first question I won't answer, and the second one, no, you're not. And then he says to me, oh Mom, it would have been wonderful. It would have been great. And besides, Dad wouldn't mind. I think Dad would mind.
Yeah.
No, we were good friends, and that's as far as I'm going to say about it. I do have a book called Pigtails, Presley, and Pepper, because I came from a show business. My daddy was married to Ginger Rogers, and I came from a show business family. And
I had not realized that about you before I came, and then someone said, and I went, my goodness, it's amazing the history that so many of the show business actors have that we really don't know their history about.
They don't. And since I was in all my life, that's all I've ever done. My mother was a dancer. My dad was in vaudeville with Hope and Crosby and all those guys, and I knew nothing else. So naturally I'd go into it, and that's how I made a living, and enjoyed doing traveling and meeting the fans. As you know, they're the best. Elvis fans are the best.
I had no idea.
They're the best. They really are. And
they're so loyal, don't you find
very
that?
loyal, and he was very shocked. He asked me at one point, we had a lot of conversations, and like I said, we became friends, and he said, do you think the fans will remember me when I'm gone? Yes. And I said, well, of course, Elvis. Well, I didn't know 100%, but of course, he's bigger now than ever.
Yeah. And then ever, who would imagine 40
Exactly.
years later? I wanted to ask you, is there a question in all these years that nobody ever asked you about Elvis Presley? Can you think of a question that no one ever asked?
Oh, gosh. No, you have to ask me a question. I don't know. It's usually what was it like to kiss him, and did you go out with him? And some things I don't talk. My book is not a kiss and tell. I don't go into things. Yeah.
Because that wasn't not what he wanted.
No. And no, just mainly what was he really like?
Yes.
And what you saw on the screen, he was one of us. I like to say he was one of us. He was a country boy. He was humble, as you know, and a lot of fun. He wasn't perfect. Who is? What human is? Right. But he was just a fabulous human being and gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Can you think of anything that was unusual about him that perhaps you might want to share? Something unusual that we don't know that you experienced maybe on the set?
Well, I knew I don't know if they really knew how insecure he was, how he wasn't sure about things. He was singing to me, and we shot it in Big Bear and MGM. But this one time he was singing to me in the film, and we stopped and talked because we had a plane flew over, and he said, Cynthia, and I said, what? He said, Elvis. He said, I don't know what I'm doing here making these films. And I said, what do you mean, Elvis?
Really?
He said, I should still be driving a truck. And how do you answer that? It's like, I'm still a country boy.
No, you shouldn't be.
I mean, I was in complete shock, I mean, here's Elvis, that I idolized as a kid. He's only 5 years older than me. He would be. So I thought, wow, that's something else. That's really something. And most people think, well, when you're in that position, you're cocky, you know everything. No. He had different things that bothered him, and he was a man that I think if he were here, he'd flirt with us and talk to guys about football, what guys talk about. Just a normal guy.
And tell us, as we're getting to part, because I know you have to go, you've got a show to do here. Tell us what you're doing today.
You mean actually doing today? Here?
Well, today, but in general as well.
Oh, well,
Where can people see you?
Well, I'm semi-retired as far as acting goes. I do some print and things in Vegas. But I'm going to Toronto to the Flaming Star Festival in October. I'm going to Memphis. I've been to, because of Elvis, I've been to Germany, Australia, Denmark, and with fans and talking to fans.
Wonderful.
And I love to travel as long as I can do it physically and mentally.
Yes.
I love to travel and meet the people, and they want to talk about Elvis, and they just want to touch you because you knew Elvis, and it's an honor, and I feel like a part of history, basically,
And you are not just with that, but you have your own history, and you've had a major career. But because Elvis has become so popular, even after his passing, anyone that knew him or had anything to do with him is right along there with him. So.
Yeah, and I'm saying a lot of us are getting up there, so you've got to. I always tell people you got to get us while you can, because after that it'll be, I knew someone who knew someone who knew Elvis,
Yes, there won't be anybody left to talk to.
So feel free to approach any one of us and talk and ask us questions, and we'll answer. And we thank all the fans for loving him as we do.
Yes, and we do. And we want to thank Miss Cynthia Pepper for joining us this afternoon. Thank you, Cynthia, so much. You're just as beautiful as ever, and I am so beyond delighted to finally get to meet you.
Thank you so much.
God bless. God bless.
Thank you.